Cool, cool. Welcome, welcome. We are going to get started here in a second. All right. I can't spell shortly, clearly, but that's okay. All right. We are getting a decent group of people in here. Awesome. So just so everyone knows too, some housekeeping stuff as people are rolling in. Please use the chat function to communicate with each other while we're going through this. And also too, if you want to have questions answered at the end as we're presenting what we're going to be talking about here tonight, please feel free to use the Q&A feature since we're using Zoom webinar. Also, I would like to point out for those that might be hearing impaired, we do have closed captioning set up. So please go ahead and click on that if you would like. Thank you, Liz, for helping us get that all set up. And hopefully it translates appropriately. When we tested it, it didn't work out too great. Danielle, outstanding, it's working, that's awesome. So yeah, so again, I think we can get started, Angie. Welcome everybody. Again, I am Nick Galarakis, the Executive Director of the Stephen G. AYA Cancer Research Fund. And tonight we wanted to bring those together that support us in different ways, stakeholders, from donors, from our audience, those that just partners of ours, sponsors of ours. We would not be who we are without all of you out there. So thank you for joining us tonight. And a lot of people are joining from our elephants and tea side of things. So thank you all for joining us. And the big part of why we wanted to bring everyone together for this town hall is so we could actually talk about for everybody of what we do as an organization from the Stephen G. AYA Cancer Research Fund side of things, because Elephants and Tea is a part of the Stephen G. Fund family. It is not its own entity anymore. The start of January 1st, 2020, everything came together underneath the nonprofit 501c3 of the Stephen G. Fund. I'm going to leave that there. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and I'm going to pass it over to our president and my mother of the board. Not my mother and the president of the board for the Stephen G. Fund, Angie Galarakis, who many of you know. So Angie, please go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I really appreciate all of you joining us this evening. And when Nick and I were talking about this presentation today, I asked if I could just give a little historical background of the Stephen G. Fund, why we started it, and where we're at. And Nick will talk about where we're at today. Anyways, for those of you who don't know, Steve, our son, Harry and I's son, was first diagnosed with stage 4 osteosarcoma in 2006 in his spine area. He had surgeries, radiation, and chemotherapy, and he amazingly made it through that experience pretty well. But in 2008, he was diagnosed with secondary AML, acute myelogenous leukemia, and was offered the opportunity of having a bone marrow transplant as the only option or treatment possibility. We were fortunate that a stranger was willing to donate his marrow, as no relative was a match. So Steve's story, his experiences, the trials and tribulations that he went through, in addition to the fact that through our journey in cancer in the hospitals, we made friends with many people and we lost friends. And that experience, the losing of friends, Stephen's illness, made us think about how we want to move forward in creating awareness about AYA cancer. So we created a platform, or better yet, a foundation. And when I wondered about the best way to approach it, I had a conversation with Dr. John Laterio, who's head of pediatric oncology at Rainbow Babies and Children's in Cleveland, Ohio. And he was telling me about a couple of things. First of all, the cancer survival rates for 15 to 40-year-olds hadn't improved since the 1970s. There were no new drugs for the type of cancers that adolescent and young adults were being diagnosed with. Another issue was that There were very few, if any, clinical trials that included that age group. So those two things were just part of the issues that AYAs faced in the diagnostic aspect of cancer. The other piece was that we wanted to think about what we wanted to do with our program. And the research piece was really important to me because we realized that without proper research, there's no way to treat or cure cancer. So in 2008, we decided to create a nonprofit foundation called the Stephen G. AYA Cancer Research Fund. The success of our foundation is the result of love and support from our family and friends. And I'd like to call out the fundraising team that we had, and you know who you are, which included many of my dearest friends and relatives, of whom I am forever grateful, because without you, I could not have done what we did. I'd also like to thank all the amazing people, friends, relatives, and complete strangers who have been attending our fundraisers, writing checks, donating baskets, and just being there for the last 10 years. You know who you are, and your support has humbled me. I am so pleased to see that our organization has successfully grown with the incredible involvement of our son, Nick, who is our executive director. I would also like to thank old and new board members who have rolled up their sleeves and used their time and talents to make the Stephen G. Cancer Fund and Elephants and Tea a success. So thank you, and I hope to see all of you in person sometime soon. God bless.
All right, thank you, Angie, AKA Mom, for all those awesome words, and just to kind of kick everything off, for those that might not have known the backstory a bit on the Stephen G. Fund, now you know. So with that said, we're going to roll into the rest of this presentation here as we kind of get things kicked off and going. All right, cool. So everybody should be able to see my screen at this point. So, okay, the agenda for today, for this evening, you already heard from Angie, our president, talk a little bit more about who we are and like, what do you mean who we are? But this way people kind of understand who we really are. Thank you to our supporters and strategic partners that we've been working with over the past couple of years. We want to recap the different things that we did in 2020 and then talk about 2021 and beyond, and some rebranding, some different information that we plan on working on continuously going forward. And then talk about a new research program that we are one of the funders for. And Steve will actually give some details around that. And then we'll have a raffle, several raffles actually. So for those that saw the announcement in the promotions that we did for this, we also are going to do some raffles tonight. So anyone that donated $25 or more, for every $25 that you donated, your name is going to go into the raffle. And so with that said, for those that might want to still donate, I'm going to put a link in the chat here, and my trusted board members are going to reshare that I've already spoken with. So thank you guys. I should also mention too, that also goes for the Elephants and Tea side of things as well. Since we do have two different pages on Classy from a donation standpoint, please know that all goes into the same bucket under the Stephen G. nonprofit window. So if you did give there already this year, or even towards the end of December, we did throw your name into the hat already, and thank you all so much for that. Okay, with that said, let's get started. So who are we? Angie teed it up really well about who the Stephen G. Fund is and why it was started. For those that might not be familiar with the Elephants and Tea side of things, Elephants and Tea is a nonprofit media company started for and by AYA cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers to know that no one is alone in their fight with cancer and in facing cancer. And the Stephen G. Fund brand is more of a Cleveland, Ohio brand, Northeast Ohio brand historically, where Elephants and Tea was started 2 years ago in 2019, immediately as a national brand, and even in some cases an international brand. So for us to bring these two together last year in 2020 was a huge success, and something that we really thought was awesome going forward for the organization. but a lot of changes had to come with that, having a local brand and national brand, which we'll talk about. But ultimately, our mission stays the same across the board, to support the AYA cancer community, knowing that you're not alone in facing cancer, and also to support research and advocacy in everything that we do with AYA cancer. Okay, so want to throw a shout out to our board of directors. Obviously, you've heard from Angie, my father, Harry Galarakis, as well. Without the two of them, this would not exist. Of course, without Steve getting cancer, this board, this entire organization would not exist. And then, of course, Polly Fury, who is my aunt and also a veteran in the nonprofit space. Joey Terry, my cousin. You're going to see a trend here with the family side of things when you start a local nonprofit. My cousin Joey Terry, who's a graphic designer at the Cleveland Clinic. Aunt Becky, Thea Beck, as we call her, also very involved with all of our wellness programs that we do, happens to be Joe's mom as well. Dan Dean, some of you might know Dan's name. He is the founder of Cancer Dudes and does a lot of work in the AYA space. Dr. Stephanie Thomas, who is the AYA oncologist over at Cleveland Clinic, and we happen to all grow up together in the same Greek Orthodox Church here in Cleveland. She actually was out in USC for a while in California and came back over to Cleveland, so we're pumped to have her a part of our organization. Whitney Hadley, a childhood cancer survivor, also an AYA social coordinator, social program coordinator at the University Hospital Rainbow Babies and Children's here in Cleveland. Andrew Mitro, one of my good friends growing up, but very involved with the financial side of things and helping us out there. Nick Hudson, no stranger to the cancer world, and was actually involved with Stupid Cancer prior to taking on a different role. He now heads up an executive director role for Entertainment to Affect Change, a very cool organization, and also pretty much a lifetime nonprofiter, and has been involved with cancer for a very long time. And then finally, Christina Cullis, my outlaw, since I guess technically I'm an in-law, is my sister, good Lord, my wife's sister-in-law. And we're thrilled to have her a part of our organization as well. We joke that I think Christina knows everybody in the Cleveland area and even then some. So that is our current board of directors heading into 2021. And again, I am not a board member. I am the executive director overseeing everything that we do for the Stephen G. Fund, including Elephants and Tea. I do also want to give a shout out to one of our other committee member who is not on our board, and that is Brad Ryan. He's helping us out with our finance committee this year. So thank you, Brad. And we wanted to give a thank you to Dr. Jeff Aletta. I don't know if Jeff is joined us tonight. Jeff's been on our board for a long time. He is not, we've had many board members, all of which we love dearly. Jeff will always hold a special place in our hearts because he was Steve's bone marrow transplant doctor when he was at University Hospitals here in Cleveland, and he's been very involved with us. He is going to stay on as a medical advisor for us. He's currently at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and I know Steve likes to poke fun at Jeff all the time, so we figured we'd poke a little bit more fun here at him. But again, thank you, Jeff. He is stepping off the board this year since it's just time to get some fresh blood in there, is what his way he said it, but he's still involved regardless. So our organizational structure, and we wanted to kind of just lay this out for everybody so there's a visual of how everything is intertwined. The Stephen G. Fund is the top line, right? It is the overarching organization. And then what we do is underneath it. Elephants and Tea was added in 2020 since it was its own entity in 2019. But we added that as a big part of community building and survivorship within our programs. We also do a lot of our wellness programs, which we'll talk about more in a second. Funding research, which as Angie mentioned, that was one of the big reasons why the Stephen G. Fund was started. Social support and education, and advocacy as well, all of which I think is pretty straightforward, but we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But those were, I should say, our different areas of focus, which we'll talk about a little bit more here. I do want to give a big shout out to our sponsors and strategic partners. Without these organizations that, one, help fund us, or two, help strategically work with us on different programs, we would not be who we are today. Just going to run through this real quick. Servier Pharmaceuticals, Bristol Myers Squibb, Grit Health, Walgreens, Lacuna Loft, Abridge, CGen, Tiger Lily Foundation, AbbVie, Genentech, Teen Cancer America, and Succulent Coffee Roasters. So thank you all so much for all the awesome programs and support that you do with us. You'll hear about more of some of these organizations as we continue on tonight, but if you do know anyone that works with these organizations, please thank them dearly. Okay, 2020 impact, our legacy programs. So the way we like to call our legacy programs are things that have been going on before Elephants and Tea came along, or anything that we started this past year. So with that said, the first big thing that we've been a part of are our wellness kits. I do actually want to pause for a second and go back real quick. We obviously help fund research. We're saving that for the end. Since Steve's going to talk about that, he's going to buy me time so I can get the raffles done on my end so we can announce those for you all. So the research stuff is coming at the end. Don't worry, that's coming. But just wanted to call that out. But our wellness kits, our Be Calm, Stay Strong wellness kits, we delivered over 125 kits this year. And the hospitals that we actually sent them to, University Hospitals here in Cleveland, which is pretty much historically, we've always sent them there. The Cleveland Clinic, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Upstate Cancer Center in New York, and Roswell Park in Buffalo. And we also send them out to a bunch of individuals as well, where we have family members reach out to us. And we also, with COVID going on this year, we went a little bit above and beyond and reached out to some other individuals as well that we knew were really stuck in social isolation here. And the whole purpose here is, we know what it's like as a family. Steve knows what it's like as a patient to be stuck in the hospital for a very long period of time. What goes into these wellness kits are things that we know that would be helpful. And it really kind of goes a long way, whether it's headphones, essential oils, incense stuff that we know that isn't going to affect the skin, the sensitive, right? It's all safe. Books, coloring books, hats now, t-shirts, medicine boxes, things like that. Also a copy of Elephants and Tea magazine, amongst many other things. And also too, we would not be growing in the wellness kits as we are if it wasn't for these awesome organizations. Again, Servier, Bristol Myers Squibb, Abridge, Thrive Cosmetics, the Torah Healing Hands Foundation, Barrels of Yum, Vitamix, and Young Adults Cancer Program at Roswell Park in Buffalo. All these organizations contributed to us in one way or another in 2020 and are continuing to in 2021. So we thank you all for making these kits possible as we continue to expand that program going forward. This was just a thank you message from an individual that received a gift on Instagram, and just wanted to talk about how much the package really means to individuals when they get them. So this meant a tremendous amount. When we do see these notes out here, they're not necessary, of course, but just wanted to point out that it really does make a difference in the patient's life to get these wellness kits out to people. And they typically cost us, so people have asked that before, $125 to send a kit out. And just so you're aware of that. And it's pretty cool the impact that they have. Next up in our wellness programs, our legacy programs, is Smoothie Days. For those that don't know, we fund Smoothie Day, specifically at University Hospital in Cleveland. And a big shout out to Michelle Rothstein, who puts that on at University Hospitals. She served over 800 smoothies this year to patients and their families, and even some workers as well with COVID-19 going on. It was fantastic. It's always been something that has been near and dear to, I know, Angie's heart, and making sure that we help educate too on the importance of a healthy diet, healthy nutrition, and helps bring a smile to people that are stuck in the hospital as well too. And Michelle, big shout out to you and your team for all the hard work that you do there. Another part of what we do, our education, is our scholarships to send people that can't afford to go to conferences, survivors in the AYA space. Unfortunately, those that know Stupid Cancer, they put on their awesome CancerCon event every year. Because of COVID, it did not happen. We had planned to send 8 people. We gave the scholarships out. We were ready to go, and then COVID happened, of course. So we plan on carrying those over into this year, but it's looking again like Stupid Cancer is going to be going digital in June. I can actually confirm that that's what's going to be happening. So these scholarships will most likely be carried over next year, or potentially looking at helping support other people. But these are programs from our legacy that we've been doing it for a long time and will continue to do so. Advocacy and social support. There wasn't a whole lot of advocacy. What we typically would do is go to Congress, go to DC and pitch and lobby for cancer funding for the NCI and other places. But this year we were very involved with presenting and different speaking opportunities to talk about advocacy, to talk about the AYA space in general, or just talking about specific topics within the AYA space. I won't read everything here, but a lot of awesome stuff that came from it. Angie was a big part of our Gab Fest that we partnered with Lacuna Loft on, which we'll talk more about in a little bit on the caregiving side of things. And also spoke how to use your voice as an advocate for the GVCC, the Global Virtual Cancer Conference. And then the other big one, Steve and I were opening keynote speakers at CancerCon's digital event. We were supposed to be the opening keynote in person, but unfortunately that all kind of fizzled out because of COVID. But we were honored to be asked to speak at so many different engagements and plan to do so again in the years to come. But we were really honored that so many people did reach out to us this past year and saw us as leaders in the field. Okay, impact, new programming in 2020. So a lot of this has to do with Elephants and Tea, but some other areas as well. So first of all, storytelling content. That was, that's a big thing of what we do with Elephants and Tea. And so for those that might not know, again, who Elephants and Tea is, we are, sorry, so one of our board members, I gotta hide my phone. Elephants and Tea is not only a media company, but an outlet for people to write stories and talk about what they're going through. And so we have our website, we have our quarterly magazine, that everything that is written is in the first person. When we launched Elephants and Tea, we ran focus groups with survivors, patients, and social workers, and said, hey, we're gonna run this like a magazine with editorial, like you see with Cure Magazine, like you see with Conquer Magazine. And we were shot down with that idea. People flat out told us that let us tell our own stories in our own words. That's exactly what Elephants and Tea is. It's storytelling in the first person. So with that said, a big thing of what we do and our bread and butter is our print magazine. Our magazine is shipped out to 60 hospitals and organizations across the continental United States. That goes for cancer centers. That also goes for individual organizations that have their own wellness kits and want to include the magazine too. It's been pretty remarkable to see that we've been in existence, Elephants and Tea has, for 2 years, and the growth that we've seen. This year we shipped just about 6,600 print copies. We were on pace to ship closer to 10,000 this year, but because of COVID, we had to scale that back due to precautionary measures. We have over 300 individual print subscribers. We have 1,913 digital magazine subscribers. That's an exact number as of this morning. And the magazine is quarterly, March, June, September, December. Just again, if I didn't say this, it's free. So anyone can sign up for it. The print version or the digital version, we'll send it to you, no cost, okay? We want people to have this resource handy to be able to know that you're not alone going through this, regardless of where you are, regardless of your background, and who you are personally. We want people to know that they're not alone going through this. And just to kind of tie up the storytelling side of things, our website this year, we do 3 stories a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We have now hit over 150 contributors across 10 different countries, and we have readers across 15 different countries digitally, which just blows my mind that was never a goal for us to get international so quickly, or really at all for that matter, but that just shows you the power of social media. And we published 156 stories in 2020 digitally alone. That does not count the print magazine stories that we had as well. So it was just fantastic and absolutely remarkable to see the growth here. And before I get to GABFest 2, I do just want to call out our social media manager, Alexia Montgomery, and AM Social. She's our contracted employee. Other than myself, she's the other one that really is hands-on with me all the time. And she helped really grow what we do socially. So if anyone's looking for a social media person from a contracting standpoint, let me know. I know someone. But she really has ramped up our social media and just does an amazing job to get the word out there. Okay, the YA Cancer GABFest. This was something that was brand new this past year that we partnered with our amazing friends over at Lacuna Loft, Mallory Casperson, their CEO, and Ariel Donovan, their Chief Program Officer. Mallory actually came to me with the idea of what if we did something collaboratively and of like a week long of crash courses for things people facing cancer. And for those that attended GABFest, you know how powerful it was. And for those that may not have known this, we actually planned GABFest before COVID hit. So what GABFest was, it was a week long of crash courses for facing cancer the week of December 7th. So every night, Monday through Friday, we had a crash course, we had an interactive session for young adults faced with cancer, talk about different topics each day. And we thought we were going to be the cool kids with Zoom, and we were going to wait till after all the in-person events happened this year. That's why we picked December, because nothing goes on in December. Lo and behold, COVID hits, and everybody knows what Zoom is. So we changed our strategy slightly, but for those that were not there at GabFest, we had about 135 unique people sign up and come throughout the week, which was pretty awesome. Most were patient survivors. We had caregivers as well and some medical professionals, and the feedback we got was unbelievable. We will be back in 2021 for another week of GabFest, and that'll be, I believe it's December 5th is that week. So we're super excited and thrilled to, and honored really to be partners with folks like Lacuna Loft and be able to bring this source of resource, if you will, and camaraderie within the AYA space. So that was a big hit with what we did, and we plan on continuing building off that going forward. We had a reunion actually for those that attended GabFest on, let's see if I get the date right, February 18th. It's a Thursday. Those in the chat, I'm sure will check me if I'm wrong. Thank you, friends. But yes, so that GabFest was just amazing, and that was one of our big highlights for last year. Another big highlight was partnering with Tiger Lily Foundation and creating a new metastatic cancer magazine called My Life Matters, a spinoff of some stuff that Tiger Lily has been focusing on. And you'll see their leader, Mayma Carmo, on the front there. And Mayma is a wonderful human being, has her hand in all sorts of different areas. And so we're really excited to have created this new publication with them. And the first issue of this, we focused on metastatic cancers and racial disparities. And this was supported by CGen. So thanks CGen and Tiger Lily for collaborating with us on this. It really was a phenomenal effort. It was released in October, and we're looking to continue that here in 2021 as we focus on incurable and metastatic cancers, as well as racial disparities as well. Our wellness and mindfulness programming that we added this year. And the first big thing and the big hit, I think, is our meditation. I shouldn't say ours, it's Angie's meditation class, Yoga Nidra meditation specifically, that we're doing once a quarter. 4 sessions per quarter, and Angie leads that. And she is a Yoga Nidra trained teacher. And I know several people that are attending today have been on Angie's meditation courses. There's Sunday nights, every other Sunday. We just started one on January 24th. You can find the information on the Elephants and Tea website, or I'm sure one of the folks in the chat, for those that want to join, can. I should mention, it's literally open to anyone, gang, okay? Anyone that's a part of the affiliated with the AYA space, family members, extended family, caregivers, medical professionals, please come. I think, Angie, you can put in the chat, I think we had about 35 people join last time. And so someone asked me if they should go up their seat if they can't attend. I go, no, that's the beauty of digital. We're limitless, right? So the meditation stuff has been awesome. We started that in 2020 and we're continuing that on. And again, partnering with Lacuna Loft a little bit on this as well too. Our COVID-19 program, so things that got kicked into gear because of COVID, frankly. A lot of these things, we didn't intend them to be as big as they are. First and foremost, the thing that's as near and dear to my heart as anything else that we've done is our happy hour crew. We've started a weekly happy hour on Fridays at 5:30 Eastern. And we started this specifically just to check in on how people are doing in March, because we knew that people that live with cancer already have to social isolate to a certain extent, depending on what they're going through, treatments and everything. Adding COVID to the mix was quite the bombshell. And we just decided we were gonna do that for a month or two, and it has turned into a regular thing. We will have that for as long as we can. I never plan on canceling happy hour. We might have to shift it from Fridays to a different day potentially once COVID's done and people actually want to go out on Friday nights. We'll see. That's not anytime soon. But one of the cool things I know for Camilla, my wife, and I, we had our first daughter in February, and there was no social interaction. So this crew really has seen more than anyone her grow. It's been pretty cool to see, and I won't name names. I'm sure they're chatting in the chat right now that I can't see. But we get 15 to 25 people every week, and there's much more than that from the folks that have come. I know your group, you guys have touched my heart tremendously, and just to be there for each other, for those that are going through it, and just kind of hang out and have a good time. So thank you all. Spilling Tea with the G's video cast. So Steve and I decided to start a podcast video forum just via Zoom. We had to talk about tough topics in the AYA space, and even just tips for people of what they're going through. And we have a picture in the upper left of our latest episode with Jay Carter, a survivor and a big advocate in the young adult space. He does a lot with Epic Experience, as well as some other professional stuff. And we talked about wellness and fitness because that's a big part of Jay's journey, if you will, of facing cancer. So we plan on having a couple more episodes with our season 2. And then season 3 will start up in the spring, and there might be a podcast in the future too. So stay tuned there. But that's been something that we've just been able to connect with people and bring more information on what's going on in the space. Our digital resource page specifically for COVID, thank you to Teen Cancer America for really help pushing this out as well. It is a resource on the Elephants and Tea side for anything that's going on digitally, whether it's with us, whether it's Stupid Cancer, whether it's GRIT, whether it's Lacuna Loft, whoever it might be. We want to list things in there so people know what's going on. And a lot of hospitals are taking that link and using it on materials. I know MD Anderson was one of the first to jump on board, and they push it out to all their patients so people know what's going on. It's nothing to pump ourselves up. We just want people to know what's out there. So if you ever are looking for something to do or want to point somebody in some direction, check that out. We also have folks like Triage Cancer and Family Reach that do some financial and health insurance support too on there. So there's all sorts of different things on that page. It says COVID-19 at the top of our menu bar, and that's the link for that. And finally, we started a Mind, Body, and Soul series with our 2 great partners, Dear Jack Foundation and Lacuna Loft, which happen to do meditation with Angie, yoga, creative writing, and then a hangout as well too. So it was really a lot going on because of COVID-19, and we wanted to make sure we were there to support everybody. We started some AYA writing workshops this past year. We dabbled a bit. I got to give a big thank you to our friends at Stanford, Pam Simon. I think you're out there actually tonight, so thank you, Pam, for being here. Pam had the idea of doing some sort of workshop with her AYA group, and we were so thrilled to be brought in to be a part of that. And then also to Dana-Farber. Paige, I'm not sure if you're on tonight or not. Whitney Hadley and I did a workshop with Dana-Farber as well too, and trying to get people to reflect on the different impacts of cancer and talk about what people are going through, reflect on life goals. And it goes about an hour and a half, and it's been a blast. The goal behind some of these is bring myself in, one of our writers as well. Our intern from the summer, Rachel, joined the Stanford one. It was a blast. And then we bring in someone that's written before, whether with Elephants and Tea or just locally, to talk about the importance of writing and how that can, help express feelings on what people are going through. And again, also stress the point that as much as we want you to write for Elephants and Tea, you don't have to write for Elephants and Tea. It's important for you to write for yourself. It's important to write wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you have that safe space. So that was something that was really cool that we started this past year that really seemed to make an impact on folks. Okay, that was 2020. I think I got it all. So on to 2021. What are our plans now? What are our plans beyond? Our community is a big thing of what we're going to be doing, and I'll explain that here in a second. So a lot of you know our branding here. This is Steve's wonderful bald bearded face here, which, by the way, some of the patients at Roswell Park, when they got the wellness kits, those that know the wellness kits, there's a bag that comes with them, and our logo's on it. So it's Steve's face. And some of the patients actually thought it was a picture, and I forget the actor or the character's name they thought it was the main character from Breaking Bad, because he has cancer in the show too. So that was a pretty wild experience to hear that was what people thought when they got the bag. So we're like, oh, that's a little awkward. But anyways, we just realized that over the past year, bringing Elephants and Tea on as a national brand, Stephen G being more local, we really wanted to make sure our brand identity was where it needs to be or what we needed to change. So we took a deep dive. We took a step back as an organization, and we wanted to talk to people that are involved with us. So we spoke with stakeholders. We ran different online surveys. We did interviews. We did focus groups. Thank you to all of those that joined those focus groups. This is where we kind of culminated everything here to kind of understand, how people see us, how people see Stephen G, how people see Elephants and Tea. And I should mention too that we put together a volunteer task force led by Melanie Bauer, who's actually in Germany, one of my cousins, but this is what she does. She works for nonprofits, a lot of rebranding stuff. So we had a lot of early morning meetings. Nick Hudson and Joey Terry on our board, the 4 of us would get together and strategize on different things. And it was very clear with all this information that we did that a lot of people didn't know both brands. You had folks from the Stephen G side that were more local Cleveland or Ohio people or some sort of tie there that knew us. You had people from Elephants and Tea were like, who the hell is Stephen G Fund, right? Unless you knew Steve or you knew someone in our family, people really didn't know who we were. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, our branding is sound going forward. So we can basically say, hey, we are one organization. This isn't Elephants and Tea or this isn't Stephen G. We are one brand, one group. And a lot of the feedback we got from people was there was a lot of local love. People from Cleveland loved being a part of us, not just because they loved the G family, but because we were a Cleveland organization. So we wanted to make sure that we continue that local love, continue our historical roots, if you will, here in Cleveland. But also at Elephants and Tea, it's a very strong national brand now within the AYA space. So we wanted to make sure that whatever we do has that strength to carry us going forward nationally. So thus, we came up with a new name and new branding called the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation. And you will notice that in this here, we wanted to make some subtle changes, all while keeping the historical roots of who we are and show our natural progression of who we are. So we're more than just a cancer fund, right? That's why we added the name foundation to it. We're much larger than what we used to be, a family nonprofit here in Cleveland, Ohio, but still keeping our roots with the Stephen G name. We kept the bow tie because the bow tie is significant to who Steve was and his identity, not was, like he's not here, good God, who Steve is. For those that have never been to a party with Steve or a fundraiser with Steve or wherever with Steve, he rocks bow ties. That's one of his big things. And that will work along a lot of things that we do. So we're eventually going to be phasing out Steve's face across the board. As pretty as it is Breaking Bad as it is, it's something that we're going to drop across the board. You'll also notice a new tagline. Our community is support. This tagline can be used in many ways, and we'll get to that in a second. But between the tagline and the bow tie, that's going to be something that's going to tie us together as we continue to go forward. You may have heard me mention that we're more than just a research fund now. We wanted to make sure, though, that as we continue, one of the pillars that we do is, in fact, AYA Cancer Research. And so we wanted to give a name specifically to our fund. We got a lot of pushback from two individuals by choosing this name, but I think a lot of you will agree that this name is very fitting. And we are calling the research arm of the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation, the Harry and Angie Galarakis AYA Cancer Research Fund. Our community is research. Because even though this organization would obviously not be here if it wasn't for Steve having cancer, financially and everything else, and the heart and soul that both my parents have put into this would not be where it is today. So this is a big thank you from myself, the board, and everyone that has been impacted by our organization to Harry and Angie. I'm gonna do a shot here because I'm getting emotional. All right, cool. But you'll see that our community is research, all right? Our community is support. That's gonna be something that's gonna tie us together because out of our community, we don't have any of this. We're not doing any of this. But again, next time you talk to Harry and Angie, please say thank you. We would not be here and the size that we are without their dedication to the community. So how is our organization going to be structured going forward? So again, the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation is our overarching organization. New acronym, SGCF, okay? That's our new acronym. The research arm is going to be the Harry Angie Galarakis AYA Cancer Research Fund. And then the next arm is our community and survivorship, which is Elephants and Tea, our wellness programs, and the advocacy work that we will continue to do as well. I don't need to go into the community and survivorship areas. We've already talked about those, but I think it's self-explanatory. But this way, there's a clear focus for us going forward that we still have our research arm, but we still want to focus on survivorship and community because that is just as important to the psychosocial and the mindfulness of people that are faced with cancer. We want to look to the future and continue to fight and to continue to try to beat cancer from a research standpoint, but also to support those that have cancer today with our community and our survivorship programs. So I mentioned the tagline, right, and our branding. So this is a kind of a way that we can play with our tagline a bit. Our community is support, our community is research, storytelling, wellness, there for each other. we're going to have some fun, cool campaigns coming up that I know that a lot of people, especially on the elephants and tea side, I have a feeling are going to dive into this. But we wanted to be able to tie this together and have our community because our community truly is our strength in everything that we do, from a donor standpoint, from an audience standpoint, everything standpoint. We're really excited about that. So here are our array of logos. This is an ugly slide. I know Joe would probably be like, bro, what are you doing? But this is just kind of what I wanted to showcase for people on the branding that we chose. Different variations of the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation, as well as the Harry and Angie Galarakis AYA Cancer Research Fund, with and without the tag and outline of the bow tie. You'll notice Elephants and Tea is over here to the right. We're going to be doing some tweaking to it. We're not going to change much, I can promise you that, but think elephants and bow ties. We're going to try to get playful with it and see if we can kind of have some fun with it. But we really want to incorporate the bow tie and our community is across the board in everything that we do. This way it ties the organization back. So when people see that bow tie and that tagline, they know that we are the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation. Okay, 2021 and some of the other programs. That's the structural stuff. We're going to talk about some other things here. Steve's going to jump on here and talk about the research that we are a part of. I am not going to talk about this. I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen here. So I'm going to spotlight Steve. And Steve, when you're ready, take it away.
Hi, everybody. In case you don't know me, I'm Steve. As you can see from the logo, it kind of looks like me a little bit. I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. It means so much to us as a family that you've been supporting us or that you're willing to start supporting us. It means a lot to us. So we have been involved with research since the inception of the Stephen G. AYA Cancer Research Fund, and we were offered a wonderful opportunity this past year. The Case Comprehensive Cancer Center at Case Western Reserve University here in Cleveland came to us with an opportunity to help support one of their researchers, Peter Sakari, who runs a lab at the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center. He is looking to send a trainee of his, Dean Pontius, to the Tel Aviv Medical Center in Israel. Why, you might ask? There they have 75 sarcoma samples. And for those of you who aren't, well, for those of you who don't know what sarcomas are, they are a rare type of cancer that specifically affects things like connective tissue in the body, tendons, bones. And it's a rare type of cancer that really affects the adolescent and young adult population. And so to have such a large collection of samples is a very big deal. Within those samples are also osteosarcoma specific cancer samples, which that was the first cancer that I had, and that was the cancer that started this fantastic journey. And so we will be helping fund the travel expenses, some of the lab expenses, and this will be through 2023. And this is a really wonderful opportunity. These samples can't leave the country. Cancer samples usually can't leave countries based on the medical restrictions that each country has. So it's very important for us and the community in general to have a chance to look at this. Not only will this help from a research standpoint, but it'll help create partnerships from the case here in Cleveland and with the Tel Aviv Medical Center there. And it's just a really incredible opportunity for us. And so any research that is published will bear the logo of the Stephen G. Foundation, or the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation. I have to get used to our new name now as well. And he will be there for about 4 to 6 weeks studying these samples, and at which time we hope to have a lot of new research, and hopefully this will help but it'll help spur new treatments into sarcomas. Because I can tell you for a fact that the treatment that I received hadn't changed since the early 80s or mid 80s. And the chemotherapy they use in these cancers can be very harsh and very toxic. And a large majority of the people who receive these chemotherapies end up with lifelong side effects, including secondary cancer, which is what I actually ended up with. My chemotherapy gave me my second cancer. So this is a really unique opportunity. for us as a foundation, but also for the community to be able to really expand our research knowledge as we move forward into the, hopefully new fields of research. And that's the new research we're specifically doing this year. In the past, we've helped fund Dr. Alex Wong's research lab at the Wolstein Research Center and here in Cleveland at the Case Comprehensive Cancer Center. And their research has actually won a few awards and then also been funded by the NIH and other organizations as well. So it's been a great opportunity for us to help the research community, and then also with this new opportunity through Case Western Reserve University and their Comprehensive Cancer Center. So it's a really unique opportunity, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of this. So I'm hoping Nick seems to be still counting our looking through our raffle right now. So I wonder when he'll come back on. But research is, as my mother said and Nick said, it's a really important aspect of what we do. And without doing research, we'll never develop new cures, new treatments, and hopefully one day rid ourselves of this terrible disease that is cancer. And AYAs, specifically because, of who we are, the research hasn't been developed enough in our areas, in our age group, to help combat a lot of these rare cancers. And through funding new research, we can develop new clinical trials in the community as a whole. And it takes little organizations like ours to be able to do these kind of things. So yeah, it's a really cool opportunity. And Nick, are you all ready there? Or?
Almost done. Keep going. No pressure.
No pressure. Well, I want to say, I'm really happy to be here this week. As one of the things, side effects are something that still affect me later in life. And I was actually in the hospital this past week dealing with some very wonderful chest pain, of which they can't figure out. And so these are some of the more reasons why we need to continue research, because so many of my friends in this community and so many of the loved ones that we all have will suffer lifelong terrible side effects. And it's something that, in my personal opinion, ends up sometimes being worse than the cancer itself. So even if we can't outright cure cancer, being able to develop less toxic treatments is a very important aspect of research, because the side effects are wicked. They are terrible. And so it's something that I hope that we can nix through things like immunotherapy, which give us the option of being less toxic and less damaging, and hopefully less cancer inducing as well. Because of those of you who don't know, I've had 4 cancers now, and 2 of which have been from the treatments that I received with my first cancer. So we really need to do a better job in that area of the toxicity and the types of poisons we put in our bodies, or in our patients' bodies. Looks like my mother's back on now. Maybe she'd like to add something to all of this.
Hi, it's not necessary for me to speak, but I didn't know if you just wanted me to add a couple pieces and parts to. One of the things that we did at conferences over the years is we would award the best poster sessions at research conferences. And that's something I really like doing, because you're supporting new young researchers who are still in the process of deciding where they're going to go in the field of medicine or in research, medical research. So that's part of what we do. And it's, we've had people who end up becoming psychologists in the field of cancer or young adult cancers, others enter, various aspects. So it's been a great way to support the cause, also get our name out there as well.
And one thing I really want to quickly add before Nick jumps back on here is that one of the reasons why it's important, like our small organizations, to donate to research labs is that small money that you can provide, even if it's a few thousands of dollars, allows researchers who might not necessarily think of going into AYA cancer research to be able to fund just like their basic needs. And a lot of times there's so little money going there, people don't want to go into those fields because they can't pay their bills. So those small donations to those labs really make a huge difference as well. And it looks like Nick's all ready now. So Nick, take it
I
away.
am ready. All right, cool. So cool. All right. I wanted to get the winners of the drawings. So this way, when we get the raffles up, we can get all fancy and actually have their names next to what they won. All right. So I will share my screen again, gang. We're almost done. I promise to keep this as close to an hour as possible. All right, cool. Here we go. So a couple other things just to talk about are just what we're also going to be doing this year from a community and survivorship standpoint that's a little bit different. A lot of people may have heard about this already, but our Purgatory event, which is a writer and speaker series about brewing tough conversations for facing cancer. So it's a play on the word purgatory. Since you'll notice our first magazine this past year was about being in that time bubble. And a lot of people that have cancer going through treatments, life just passes you by and you're kind of stuck in purgatory. So we wanted to bring that to light a little bit, bring it to life, and actually talk about those specific topics. So every Thursday, last Thursday of each month at 7 o'clock Eastern, we're hosting a digital event via Zoom. And again, just to encourage people to use their voice and bring up those difficult conversations for what cancer patients face. And again, we want people to live their best life. And also on top of this, we'll be featuring a specific organization that is supporting the AYA cancer community. So people know who else is out there. We know that the Steve G. Cancer Foundation and Elephants and Tea can't support everybody. It takes a herd, no pun intended, but it really does. There's so many different people that we need to be able to support. So the topics here, our first one we had in January was finding your herd, and there are the others listed there: being present, guides and their emotions, letter to my younger self, survivor's guilt, dear cancer, sex and intimacy, the medical professional, which we actually want to focus on the medical professional because I feel like so many times we forget that they are a big part of this AYA cancer community, anxiety and mindfulness, incurable and metastatic cancers, health insurance, financial toxicity, and what do the holidays mean to me now? Also, you heard us talk about those AYA writing workshops. We want to expand on that this year. We really want to meet people where they are. That's one of our big themes this year too, is meet patients where they are and earlier as well. Work on some narrative therapy workshops. Specifically, Whitney Hadley on our board is getting her narrative therapy license, so she'll be able to help me in crafting those together. And look at continuing to do these digitally with hospitals. So we're going to expand on that. We'll try to reach more people earlier in their phase. One thing we always hear from people is, I wish I had this when I first got diagnosed with cancer. We hear that a lot with Elephants and Tea and a lot of the new support programs that have popped up. So this is an opportunity for us to try to meet people where they are early on in their treatments, and with the hope of continuing to grow this, actually going to do these in person at hospitals as well too. Okay, last but not least, our goals for the Stephen G. Cancer Foundation in 2021 and beyond. We want to expand funding for more research. Number one, that's the ultimate end game here. Number two, continue to expand our community support programs. Bring more awareness to health inequities. Develop special editions of Elephants and Tea, whether it's for medical professionals, cancer disease specifics, and so much more. Increase the amount of Be Calm and Stay Strong wellness kits that we're giving out. We're hoping to increase that to 200 this year. Look to launch smoothie days in other hospitals. If you know a hospital, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. And also continue to spread our scholarship program, obviously pending COVID-19, when in-person events do pop back up again, because we know that personal connection cannot be replaced. And finally, our next steps, right? We can't do this without our supporters, you that are here today. We can't do this without you. Of course, we're asking for financial support to continue to grow. So please, if you're able to, you have the links. I know Nick and Joe have been putting in there. If you're able to donate today, awesome. If you're able to donate tomorrow, awesome too. But it doesn't just take financial dollars to help support us. Help us connect with other organizations that you know and love to work with. Help spread the word of what we do. And just include us in those conversations, specifically in the AYA cancer community. Bring us along. We'd be happy to talk to whoever that might be out there. And again, I'd like to thank you all so much for being here for our first town hall. With that said, we're going to go into the raffles now before we get into any questions or discussion anyone has for us. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to put up here what we're going to raffle off. You guys might have an idea, but maybe not. So it's raffle time. So first up is an Elephants and Tea beanie and shirt. My beanie's downstairs, but it's a white beanie with the logo on it. No, that's okay. Actually, no, that's all right. My wife's sitting right next to me asking if I'm getting it back. That's all right. But then there's a shirt there too. We'll get your size. I know some people have a beanie already. And the winner is Karen. I think it's Rabin. I think I pronounced that correctly. So Karen, congratulations. And also people don't have to be here today. We will reach out to them if they were unable to attend. And I should just reiterate how people got into the raffle. If you gave $25, for every $25 you donated, that put your name into the raffle. So if you donated $50, your name went in twice. If you donated $100, your name went in 4 times, so on and so forth. Next up, we have 2 Noble Vines wine bottles. And the winner is Leslie Basista. So thank you, Leslie, for your support. Next up, we have golf at Avon Oaks, courtesy of Brad Ryan. Thank you, Brad, for donating this. Part of the deal was, though, you have to golf with myself and Brad. So the winner gets to bring a second person. And I chuckled when I saw who won this. It is Martin Clancy, or Marty Clancy, a worker, a former coworker of my father's. So I know some people were really excited when we announced this. So Marty, congratulations. I don't think you're on with us, but we will reach out to Martin. Next up is a Harry and David meat and cheese box. And the winner of that is Rachel Walker. For those that don't know Rachel was one of our cover story people in the December magazine, cover story writers, and also spoke at our first Purgatory. So congratulations to Rachel. If you're on tonight, congrats. Otherwise, we will be sure to ship that to you. Next up is there was a fitness, there's a fitness group in the east side of Cleveland called Results Fitness. They gave a really cool opportunity. So it was like $450 worth, big discount for that for like $99. But we're also going to give a beanie and a shirt for this. I also chuckled at this. Dr. Stephanie Thomas, you are that winner here. Somebody tells me you already have some Elephants and Tea swag, so we may have to give that to someone else. But congratulations, Steph, for your support and for everything you do for us. Next up, we have an NFL football and an Elephants and Tea beanie and shirt, courtesy of Harry Galarakis. So the NFL football actually had an autograph on it, but like his career, it has faded, so you can't really see. It is the Josh Gordon autograph football, but we're just going to call it an NFL football. So we will give that and the beanie and shirt to our good friend Elaine Campbell. It's funny how this works sometimes. Elaine and Claude are huge football fans. So Elaine, congratulations there. And I should mention, Elaine has been a huge support, and Claude, for a lot of our volunteer stuff here in Cleveland for different fundraisers we've done. So thank you, Elaine, so much. Next up, we have a $100 Amazon gift card. And the winner is Deborah George. So Deborah George, congratulations on winning that. I will email that to you after this. Next up are bottles of booze. So we have a Bullet Rye bottle, a Tito's vodka bottle, and a handle of Captain Morgan's rum. Again, the irony of who keeps winning these things. Brad Ryan, congratulations on winning that. Something tells me that Marty will have fun with you on the golf course, enjoying your bottles of booze. I couldn't make this up. It's ridiculous how this goes sometimes. Last but not least, Succulent Coffee Roasters gift bag. And for those that have not heard of Succulent Coffee Roasters, they're actually based in Los Angeles, California. They've been a big supporter of ours. It's actually their CEO went to high school with Steve. Kevin Sabo is his name. So those from the Westlake, Ohio area. Kevin is out in LA doing things. I know we have some people on here from LA. Check them out. And also too, if you do subscribe to any of their coffee bags that they do, they'll ship them for you across the country. They do give money back to the Stephen G. Foundation, as well as another organization that focuses on, I believe it is trying to get water to places that don't have water, essentially, I think is one of the big things that they do. So anyways, check them out. They're doing good. They're brewing good. This comes with a shirt, a mug, 2 bags of coffee. I think there might be something else. Anyways, the winner of this is Mike Cachet. So congratulations, Mike, for winning that. And that is it, gang. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen to see if there are any any questions from the peanut gallery here. It didn't seem like there were any Q&A, but again, gang, if there's any questions, if people want to throw anything in the chat or the Q&A area, please do so. We did record this, so if you know anyone that was unable to attend, please let them know that we will push this out there. I will send a link out to everyone in the Elephants and Tea database and the Stephen G database. We're trying to merge those all together. That's part of what we're doing. But yeah, so, it looks like we have a question. Let's see. The name of the coffee company is Succulent Coffee Roasters. And I will even, I don't know if Steve or anyone else is able, let me see if I can grab that link real quick. That is a great question. Let's see if I can get it. Here's the link, and I'm actually going to grab the link for the subscribe so you all can see the cool things that they're doing. Okay, so there it is. Steve and Liz beat me. Thank you guys so much. Any other questions, people out there? You wonderful human beings, you. And gang, that is it. So if you all have better things to do on a Saturday night, please feel free to go do those things. We kept it to just over an hour. Much love to everyone that supports us and shows up to our programs. Like I said, our community of support. Angie said that to me when we came up with the tagline. She's like, that's what we do, is support. And you all support us as well in ways that you probably have no idea. So thank you all so much. If you do have questions, I will hang out for a bit. And yeah, so who else? Any questions? Anyone? Keep it real, homies. And if not, we can close out. So everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. For my happy hour crew, I'll see you next Friday. And everybody else, if you ever have any questions, I should mention too, always feel free to email any of us. The best email for me is nick@elephantsandtea.com. And Angie's another one. Oh, Angie beat me. There you go. All right, gang. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, email me after the fact. You all are so wonderful. Take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.